Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about vulnerability. I've talked about it a little bit earlier in the channel. It's like a major theme of this channel. I really want to. It's really more for me than anybody else. I'm trying to like practice it and again learn how to be more vulnerable so anyway, I'm trying to like define it more. I guess I'm like a little bit scientific in that way, or analytical. I'm constantly trying to understand myself, my psychology, my mindset, and my feelings and whatever, so that I can understand it, so I can make choices about like about what works for me, what doesn't, what helps me to be happy and what doesn't, whatever. So I like to kind of use myself as a guinea pig in that way, like just try to understand psychology a little better. So the other day, I kind of just fell into it. Like that just happens to me sometimes. I know I've had a hard time defining vulnerability in a way that really makes sense to me and so that I can replicate it. But it sort of just happens to me sometimes. I just fall into it. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, this is vulnerability. This is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been trying to create in my life. But I had a hard time replicating it. But I realized kind of the other day as I sort of like fell into it, I think it's kind of weird. It's like a total like recognition, a realization of your imperfections and your flaws, like how totally flawed and imperfect you are, without perfection being a prerequisite for happiness and having worth. Does that make sense? So like, it's like being totally aware of how imperfect you are, while but that's okay. Not that's okay, I don't need to change or grow. It's like, okay, I'm totally imperfect and I need to make these changes, but I'm also good enough right now to be happy and to be loved. Like that like, I don't know, it's like detaching your self-worth from your perfection, detaching your self-worth from how you compare to other people, detaching your self-worth from how the perception of human beings, I guess. Detaching your self-worth from your performance, and your value from your performance, while recognizing the need to perform your best and do good and be good, a good person, and add value to the world. But it's like detaching your self-worth to that, or from that. So it's like realizing there's two separate things. I talked about humility the other day, and it, like, in my kind of the way I'm defining humility now is like, it's kind of like not caring what other people think about you, in a sense. It's like caring more about what God thinks about you than about what human beings think about you. But realizing, being willing to realize that God thinks very highly of you, so that you have incredible worth and value, regardless of anything, regardless of what you can do or not, and separating that from your need to do and be good. But I don't know. I'm getting better at defining it, I guess. But I don't know. So then, so vulnerability. So being vulnerable, it's like just totally self-accepting, totally being self-acceptance. Wow, that was articulate. Totally being self-accepting, while recognizing and admitting and your flaws, your total inability to be perfect, and saying, I need help here, right? Like, I need help in life. I need help from other people. I definitely need help from God. And that's okay. I still have incredible value. I'm incredibly loved and lovable, and I'm imperfect, you know. And so I don't know. It's a nice thing when it's actually like a really beautiful thing when you can find it, when you can find that mindset where you're just like, yes, I am totally imperfect. And it's like you're totally accepting of that I'm totally imperfect, and that's a reality, that's real, that's true. And I need help, and I need to grow and change. But I'm also totally good enough right now for love and peace and happiness. And so it's like I need to grow and change, but not to earn any kind of worth. So I guess, I guess I would define it as like separating your worth from achievement and from perception of humans and perfection, and recognizing that you have worth and value as a human being, aside from what you can or can't do, or what you do or don't do. And then being willing to realize I can do better, and I can be better. And I don't have to do it to earn anything, but I can do it, and therefore I want to do it, I guess. So I don't know, just some thoughts I had on it. This video didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to. I'm working on becoming more vulnerable, but I guess like part of that is in these videos, like I'm still pretty like calculated, you know, like I'm still pretty thoughtful about what I say and how I say it, and then I go and edit this stuff because like I really want to make sure it sounds really great. And part of vulnerability is just like not editing yourself, and being willing to be seen in the imperfection that you have, and not worrying or really not comparing yourself to anybody. So, I don't know, in that vein, let me see if I can edit this video less. I might cut out a couple things, but I'm going to try to edit it a little less. And just say, like, how I feel more. Which is, I feel actually pretty good today. But, now, I guess. Earlier today, I didn't feel that great. And I've had ups and downs the last couple of days. Yesterday I realized that I have done something that I don't like, and that is that I kind of decided a few years ago that I was going to I don't know how to say it exactly, how to describe it, but it was like I was single, I'm still single, and I wanted to just like date somebody. I mean, I'm a romantic, and it's like my life's greatest dream to just be in love. So I just thought that, to love and be loved back. I mean, to be with somebody who was like crazy about me and who I'm crazy about. So I've wanted that and just like longed for that for so long. And but I've struggled to find it. That's pretty common. I think so many people really have had a hard time finding somebody. It's harder today, I think, than it used to be. To date, people are less vulnerable. People are less willing to take a chance on somebody, right? And I get it. I am too. But a few years ago, I kind of decided like I need to make myself my best possible version of myself first before I can find somebody, like I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression a few years ago, and I sort of dedicated my life to like fixing that and learning about it and healing it and trying to make changes, gain some confidence, and so, but I kind of inadvertently, like subconsciously, made a decision in my mind that, okay, I have to become, I don't know, I wouldn't have said perfect back then, but maybe that was what I was expecting, that like I needed to become perfect first before I felt like I would be good enough to date somebody, to be in love, or to be loved, I guess, probably. And so I don't know, I just have realized just recently, like, well, I do believe in, like, you know, we're always looking for the right one, and maybe a better attitude or a better approach would be becoming the right one, you know, becoming our best selves. But at the same time, I've realized, like, how desperately we need other people. And I don't believe in, like, putting the responsibility on somebody that you're dating to, like, fix you and make you happy, because that'll never happen and you won't be able to be lastingly happy. However, we need connection in order to be happy. And so, and part of a healthy relationship is, like, sharing our imperfections and the like the help that we get through other people accepting us as we are. Like we get something from someone else accepting us and loving us in our imperfections that we can't give to ourselves. So I think that in that way we're reliant on other people to get something we can't generate ourselves. But, you know, if you're too reliant on somebody else to bring you happiness, then it just won't be sustainable. And it's unfair. You know, it's unfair to them because you can't put the weight of your happiness on their shoulders. So anyway, I don't know, I just kind of realized that I don't need to be perfect in order to be loved, or be lovable, or feel lovable. And I need to have connection in order to become my best. I need to have that. So I'm just going to try to be more willing to accept it. And to be more, I guess, like, the goal maybe shouldn't be to become perfect. It definitely shouldn't be to become perfect before you find love. But it shouldn't be to even become, I don't know, remotely perfect. Like, it shouldn't put so much, you shouldn't, like, wait until you feel like you're good enough to meet somebody, because I don't think you ever really will feel like you're good enough. It's kind of about accepting yourself before you feel like you're good enough, and deciding, like, I am good enough right now. And maybe the goal could be becoming vulnerable. I think being vulnerable is a really solid foundation for a healthy relationship. If both people are vulnerable, then you can grow. You can both grow together, because it allows for honesty without taking things personally. It allows to be honest with somebody else without attacking them. It allows, we're not getting our self-worth from other people, but it's more, we're totally self-accepting of ourselves. We're totally self-accepting. And it allows us to be more accepting of other people as well in a relationship. I think vulnerability allows for connection, and that might just be the prerequisite. And maybe that's what I should have been seeking for over the last few years, rather than becoming totally free of anxiety or depression, but just becoming vulnerable. So anyway, I don't know, just 15 minutes of me rambling about vulnerability. But I think it's valuable, something that I'm really working on, trying to learn how to be honest and open, like just present, this is how I am, I'm super flawed and imperfect, and that's okay. I'm still good enough, and so is each one of you. And I need to improve, and I want to improve, but I don't need to improve to become good enough to connect. If that makes sense. I don't know. It makes sense sometimes in my head, and then sometimes not. And right now I don't know if it made that much sense, but that's whatever. There you go.